Welcome to the featured anime pre-show.
Hello, hello, hello.
All right, man. Today's going to be a real quick, real down and dirty and nasty kind of recording, and in preparation for the long weekend I have coming up where I will not be available.
Ooh, nice. Well, I mean, I guess down and dirty, yes, but hopefully not in the content, because I'm looking at this. It's basically 3 separate stories all wrapped into one. I thought it was kind of funny. Confusing as all get up, but
yes,
still funny.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I'm, we'll get into it. We'll get into it.
We'll get into it.
Yeah, I got, man. This week has just been a whirlwind of everything.
Oh, what do you mean?
So, just like everyone at my work, just like last minute things. I haven't even told, only people that know are the immediate people that are with me know I'm going to be off this Friday. But everyone, it's like everyone else is just like bombarding me and slamming. It's like, oh, I need it done today. I need this today. Like, holy shit, bro. And I'm only gone for one day and people don't even know it.
Well, I mean, quality knows quality,
Yeah. Could be worse. Could be worse.
Like having your tires fall off your truck while you're driving? Worse?
No, it could be a lot worse than that.
Oh, God. Yeah, you've had some issues, I'm sure. Today, I also had my fair share. I've got a Dodge 5500, right?
Yep.
And that's my work truck. Well, in the middle of the workday, all of the nuts and bolts, the lug nuts and bolts, shear clean off of the axle. And my tires just plop right off. I go, oh, crap. And I have to sit there with my foot on the brake for a good hour while I was waiting for the tow truck to get to me. And it turns out it's very common. Very common. Common to the point where they put a...
recall?
A recall, yeah.
The important thing about recalls is they're recalled for a reason because of safety issues. And
if my boss would have seen it, he probably still would have ignored it.
Sounds like someone needs to understand the finer points of a recall, sir. But that's okay. I mean,
to be fair,
but that's all right. I mean, like we're not here to talk about the pros and cons and do's and don'ts of a recall and why you should.
Fair, I've had several recalls on my car, and I don't remember ever paying attention to them. But I'm going to now.
I would certainly hope so.
Yeah. I got pictures. I'll probably throw them up on Discord. But yeah, crazy times.
Hey, you know what? We're alive. We're here. That's the important thing.
Yeah, alive. Well, I can work tomorrow. We're good.
There we go. All right, man. What do you say we get the show on the road to get rolling on this bad boy? Because
I think we are active. Yeah.
All right. You know what we're watching next week, right? I told you, right?
I don't think you did.
Jujutsu Kaisen season 1.
Nice.
Okay, so figured that'd be a nice because we just did the movie, so All right.
I mean, it'll be at least fresh in our mind.
Indeed. Hence my my viewpoint, or one of the reasons why. All right.
Okay.
Okay. Ready?
Yes, sir.
Welcome to the Featured Anime Podcast. I'm your host, Jack.
And I'm Rick.
And today we are talking about memories.
Yes.
The memories. But before that, Memories came out in December 1995. A couple producers for it are Bandai Visual, Kodansha, I think that's how you say it, for a couple of the producers. I know I butchered it. I'm sorry. A couple studios for it are Madhouse and Studio 4 Degrees Celsius. It's based off of a manga, believe it or not. The genres for it are drama, horror, sci-fi, military, psychological, and space. And it ran for an hour and 53 minutes. Or if you want to watch it in the 3-episode format, because it technically is a combination of 3 episodes, each one roughly runs over 30 minutes long, each one varying in length.
Really? Okay. I thought the reason why I was surprised, I thought Majestic Rose was the longest one, and I thought it just kept reducing in time. I thought Majestic Rose was like around 45, 50 minutes. The Stink Bomb one was like a half hour, and the last one was like maybe 15 minutes. But I've been wrong before.
I mean, I guess the first one just kind of really powered through it, I guess.
Well,
I mean,
I don't know. The first one to me, so they felt like three distinct like iterations of some things that were either not connected at all or in the wrong order. You know, like one was a dystopian future, one was a grim look at the future, and one was a present day. I don't know. Like if there was a chronological order we could have put to it, I feel like a Stink Bomb would have been one. Would be the first one. The Cannon Fodder would be the second one, and Majestic Rose would have been the third, just based on technology.
I mean, I wouldn't do that simply because if you were to base it on the technology, if you were basing it on the technology, even in the first one that you saw, which was Magnetic Rose, right?
Yeah.
The technology still wouldn't be similar or the same as what was in Cannon Fodder. Okay, so to kind of break it down, Magnetic Rose, basically it follows a group of individuals who are kind of space scavengers type thing. You know, it's the best way that I can do it. They receive a distress signal, shocking, for an area that you really shouldn't go to, shocking. And then they have to go there because flight regulations state you have to respond and report to distress vehicles. And I like that while they're responding to the distress beacon, they do actually like, hey, here's a video, here's my ID, here's who I am. We are responding to the distress beacon in this particular section, and blah blah blah, to kind of try and have people be held accountable. You know.
That was awesome. I agree. There was a few things in there that I really liked, and it was very Cowboy Bebop-esque in the animation and the feel, in my opinion.
Yes.
It was awesome.
Yes.
If I could rate them separately, this would be the highest rated one.
Yeah.
It turned very quickly into a horror movie for me, and I was very creeped out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I liked the fact that each character had not only their own like opinions and characteristics, they didn't vary from that. Like one guy was, for lack of a better word for it, a playboy who was a hopeless playboy kind of thing, always looking towards trying to get the next gal, and he eventually succumbs to that very childish desire. The older gentleman, who was the kind of the father of the group, was coming from a very twisted, very broken history, and obviously he was still suffering through the trauma of losing his daughter. Actually, he's on screen now, and you don't know his daughter's dead until like almost the end of that episode, right? And it was just so well done. It kept me guessing if it was or wasn't, and then when you realize it was, you're like, oh crap. Like that's dark, because everyone's talking like his daughter's alive, so he hasn't fully accepted the fact that his daughter's dead.
Yeah.
You know?
No, I got you. And how they really portray it, how they approach it is very well done. Same thing with the overall mentality behind it, right? So, and it's not just him. It's not just a story about him. It's also revolving around, and where they received the distress beacon from is Eva, who was a very renowned opera singer who ended up having a very tragic backstory, but at the exact same time not coming to terms with it or anything like that. Just kind of going, I want to say kind of just loses it completely to an excess degree, to where, you know, she developed technology or had technology developed in such a way that would allow her to live on forever through technology.
So, it was really, really weird. it was, in my opinion, it was very. Uh, it reminds me like of someone who has plenty of money and um, does not need to be susceptible to their own delusion. Like they don't have to face their reality.
Yeah.
You know.
Yep.
And the way that it kind of works was her. So her story was she was a famous opera singer, and her husband died, and beyond that, like it was so tragic and so sudden, and no one could really find out what happened to him and stuff like that. And you come to find out that she probably killed him to make his memory of her and their time together last for eternity. And it was sick, twisted a little bit,
Right.
and kind of narcissistic, and like there were so many stories in this one small short that when you said Akira made it, it makes perfect sense. The attention to detail, the different stories told at the exact same time, and they were just off enough that it was really easy to follow. Well, it wasn't easy to follow. I don't want to I don't want to say that, but like it was easy to transition from one story to the next and then back and then intermingle them and then come back. It was so well done that you almost have to be crazy to be able to pull it off. You know, attention to detail like that.
Yeah.
Not normal.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I got you. And that's honestly where I feel like it really diverges from the other ones, right? And in that this one it had such a great story. It was done in such a great way that the other ones just kind of floundered, or I felt kind of like aggravated with the story of them and how they were portrayed and what was going on with them, because this one, the first one, Magnetic Rose, was just done so well, and the animation was just done so well that it honestly set the other one. Like if this had come at the end, I would probably view the other ones in a different light, but because this one came first, the other ones just really kind of fell by the wayside in terms of quality, I feel like, in general.
Well,
because like if you go for the second one, the Stink Bomb, right? How the story went, the entire premise of it, and everything having to do with the main character, right?
Infuriating.
Very. Beyond. Like, and then the resolution for it made no sense.
So I watched that with my wife, and I've never hated a character more. I've never wanted to punch a fictional character more than this dumbass.
Yeah.
I'm like, I completely understand. The premise of so we kind of finished an awesome masterpiece. If they would have went from, if we'd have watched him in reverse, maybe it would have been better.
Yeah.
You know, save the best for last. The other two weren't necessarily bad, but it's like an amateur trying to follow a professional, like an amateur comedian trying to follow a really popular comedian who just killed it. You can't follow trash with excellence. You can't follow excellence with trash, and I can't really even say the stories were that bad by themselves. It's just when linked up together and followed, it's evident and extremely surprising.
And honestly, I'll tell you this right now, how this one was portrayed, how it really came about. I mean, like, even if I watched it by itself, it would have been horrible. It would have been aggravating and annoying all the way throughout, because he had literally if people are around me dying, or I'm in an area where it's just like, hey, there's this one thing that's going on and we just got shut down, or we're closed because of a containment breach or outbreak, right? Like, maybe I shouldn't leave. Maybe I need to stay right here. You know, just common sense. Common sense. And the dude's like developing experimental drugs, and he doesn't have that level of intellect. I mean, like, come on. Even his grandmother was right there. It's like, hey, you need to go back. He's like, oh, I wonder what she's trying to tell me. Is that my grandmother up there? Oh, interesting. Oh, huh. It's like, oh, people are trying to kill me. I wonder what's going on. That's really interesting. That's really weird, huh? I wonder why this is happening. Gee, I don't know. People drop dead around me. They're telling me to turn away. They're telling me to go away, but they're not. But they're
this whole thing.
Yeah, it's like, dude, you are dumb to the next level degree. And I just found him that aggravating all the way throughout. It's like, you cannot be that dumb. There's no way anyone in the world is that dumb.
Well, you got to respect his follow through. You got to respect his commitment. He might be stupid. He might be very stupid, but he was told, hey, bring those pills here. We need to see what's going on with that. And that's exactly what he did.
But he
driving
took the
focus.
wrong. He was like, oh, I'll just take these experimental pills because.
But he was told to.
No,
Everything
wasn't.
he did, he was told to.
No, he didn't. He was told to take the pills in the red bottle. The blue pills in the red bottle. He went to the blue bottle.
The red pill in the.
He went to the red pill in the blue bottle. He flipped it.
Yeah, it was awesome. So basically, the pills were supposed to be some sort of safety net against a biohazard, and he has the flu, and they're untested, unregulated, and he's sick, so he's got the flu, and his own buddies were like, hey, go take this experimental pill. You know the potency is going to be amazing, so that when you take it, it'll kick it off, because we don't even know the dosage yet.
Yeah.
And he took the wrong pill, and supposedly it mixed with the flu inside of him.
But it's not the pill they told him. He
made a mistake there.
Right, but also you have to keep in mind too, it's not just the flu that it's reacting with. He got a shot with the antivirus or with the vaccination to fight it. And so that's what caused the reaction, because that's the very first scene is he gets the shot and then it's like, oh, I'm going to go. What I don't understand, I mean, like, again, he goes to the hospital, he gets the shot, you see him taking precautions, right? He's like, I don't want to get other people sick, so I'm going to wear a mask while I'm out in the street. Goes in the office, is like, cough, cough, sneeze, sneeze on. Everyone else takes the mask off the whole time, right? Which then you're like, oh, I just had this vaccination shot and it immediately did not give me the results, so I'm going to go take another pill on top of that same day. That's an experimental drug that who knows what kind of reactions it could have with what I just pumped in my body.
He wasn't thinking of that. And in all honesty, I wasn't either. Because until you said that he got the vaccine or that he got like a shot for the flu, never even occurred to me that happened. I glossed over it like nothing, you know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, but that's understandable for like you or me, right? We're like, our whole job doesn't revolve with trying to make sure we don't have a chemical reaction with something that we accidentally mixed together. It's like, that's not our premise. We're not going out there playing chemists and trying to get things all together. That's his job. That is his literal job. He works for a pharmaceutical company. That is like his daily life, right?
Yeah. I was thinking back to the seriously, but I was thinking back to the story where you're like, they're trying to kill him and he's like, I got to do this thing. There's only one time I can think of where he almost, like, it would be very difficult to try to explain away a gunshot. And it was at the very, very big. And so my wife was sitting next to me. She goes, why don't they just trank him? Like, why you got to kill him? Trank him. And apparently the more stressed out he gets, the more he perspirates. And the more he perspirates, this green, noxious, gaseous cloud of destruction. I can't even say it's destruction.
Of death.
Because it makes beautiful flowers. It turns winter into summer like that. Yeah. But it kills every organic item except for him. He's like nothing.
Well,
I'm like,
it doesn't kill every organic. It kills mammals, right? Kills anything that is of a non-plant nature.
Okay, I was gonna say it kills birds too, but birds, they're avian, not mammal. So yeah. But what was crazy to me is he woke up and everyone was either passed out or dead, and he wasn't completely like freaked out by it, but he started to get more freaked out and things started to die around him, and his aroma, which smelled originally like a sweet perfume to
some, but to others it smelled foul, right? Which initially led me to like, oh, this is like a kind of like a love pill or a pheromone pill.
Yeah,
People are going to be
yeah.
right. No, it ended up not being like that. It just ended up being like the dude has this toxic gas and people just start dying.
And apparently this gas affects homing technology. It affects
everything.
all technology except
bullets,
what he's using.
It affects bullets, airs, wind.
Yeah, bullets. Come on.
Everything.
Bullets. It affects all form of mechanical technology except for the motorbike he was driving for the longest.
Yeah.
Going 60 miles an hour. You'd think you can look back and be like, what's this gaseous plume of green shit following me? And then when the army's trying to fire at him, oh God, no, run. He's like, oh, it's behind me. Save me. And he's running towards them.
Yeah.
Like,
well,
and they're going through this tunnel. I'm like, you're about to blow it up behind him. Blow it up in front of him too. Don't try to like blow out the gas. That's not going to do shit. Close off where he's at. And then he goes and says, I'm always hungry. I don't get it. I already ate, but I'm still hungry. Like, what's going on? I'm like, okay, so that would tell me personally, I'm a scientist, right?
Yeah.
Everything's dying around me. I am incredibly hungry. I'm not being affected except for my hunger. Where's the nearest supermarket? I'm just going to stay there.
Yeah.
Like, and then these poor reporters keep the camera on me. We're good. I'm going to do it. And they drop down into the no-go zone and like 15 feet from him die.
Yeah.
And then the cameraman dies.
What I don't get is he's like, oh, they just dropped dead. No question. Someone saved me. It's like, maybe you're the issue. Maybe you're the problem.
Hello, I'm the problem. It's me. Oh God. Yeah. No, it just the stupidity. And I kind of see what they were trying to do. And I got to go back to Zoids, man. The main character in Zoids ends up like kicking the crap out of everybody on accident almost, right?
Right.
He's making all these extra moves on accident, just kicking the crap out of everybody in episode 1.
Right.
And I feel like they were trying to do that here, where like every wrong turn he makes is actually the right turn because his luck is off the record.
Off the charts?
You can't off the charts, yeah. And like no matter what he does, he lucks into the right option, the only option to keep him alive. He's got homing missiles firing at him. He's blowing up a bridge that he's on, but somehow he's fast enough to, like, as it's falling away, to vroom onto the good concrete again.
Yeah.
And you're like,
just fast enough. Just fast enough. He was pulling some Bruce Willis,
Die Hard stuff.
Die Hard magic stuff. All right. Just like truly magical stuff going on. I don't know, man. I mean, like that second scene or that second episode of Memories was just that ridiculous and that annoying all the way to the very end of it too, where like how is my biggest question. I mean, and I'm not gonna go into details. If anyone has seen it or if you watch it and when you watch it and you come to the end of Stink Bomb, let us know how. How. Just that. I just want an answer to that. Period. End of story. That's all I want to know. I want to know how that was a resolution. Now,
I liked it. I liked it a lot.
That was so annoying. The last one, cannon fodder. Now, the reason why I say technology wise, I don't think that it's on the same scale between Magnetic Bros and cannon fodder, even if you went for a timeline for it. The reason why I say that, right, is, well, first off, the premise is every house, building, everything is just full of cannons. Everything, cannons everywhere. The whole industry revolves around cannons. And
cannons and firing them.
And that is it. Because they're at war. Who they're at war with, we don't know. Why they're at war with them, we don't know. They never got shot at. We just know that they're shooting at. But that's the whole basic premise is period. You have a boy and his father and his mother. That's it.
Do you remember what they were saying they were shooting at?
Yeah, their enemies moving city,
Mm-hmm.
which is why I say technology wise, I don't think it's on the same scale.
Well, the
Because
way I thought it went from stink bomb to cannon fodder to magnetic rose. So I thought cannon fodder was the middle one.
but they have an entire city that is moving around,
That's what I mean.
right? Not in space. And if you
Correct.
look,
They
they
haven't
show
made it
the areas outside of their city just pure desolate land.
Yes.
Okay. They were going back to Earth in Magnetic Rose when they had to make the stop for the space station.
Okay, that's fair.
Right. And in terms of environment and everything going on, again, no signs that there had been this lifelong, never ending war. I mean, like technology had evolved to everyone wearing military outfits, even as kids, wearing helmets, even as kids, everything revolving around it
Mhm.
to where they had headphones in their helmets now, too,
I guess, yeah. The whistling helmets, yeah.
or whatever. Yeah.
So here's how I can justify that in my head, right?
Okay.
Our idiot from the second story survives somehow, and he's roaming around and he's killing everything he's in contact with. The only way that you're able to survive is if you fire warning shots or even possible, like,
No, the
trying to
city,
attack
an
him.
entire city is moving.
Yes, no, I get that. But what I'm
No.
saying is they built they might call this dude a city. They might
No, because they
so that
made
it's more
no,
humane.
No, they like if that's the case, they wouldn't have said that they made direct contact and hits with it.
There'll be direct contact with the mist. They can't see him because he's covered in this cloud of so they're just
The
like,
dude would be dead
how do
by
you do-
that point.
How do you
Like,
do minor hits? They did major hits on the cloud, but how do you do minor hits on the cloud?
you can't. That's why you're
How do you
hitting
do
a
minor
city.
hits on a city?
The city, in other words, you're hitting direct city, hitting it directly, hitting it minor hits or indirect hits are you're hitting it just down the land, so it's getting hit with some shrapnel or it just barely clips it and doesn't actually detonate on the city, and then you have total misses.
I mean, I see where you're coming from, but in my head, the way that it works is he's moving around. He's a gaseous cloud that they're just trying to keep away from each other. That's why everyone's wearing those gas masks. And all
But
that
he
stuff.
would go towards the city because he's that dumb and it wouldn't
Yeah.
matter.
Well, I'm hoping
again,
a few years
but
have passed and he's
again.
just trying to stay away from everybody, you know?
Well, if a few years have passed, I can guarantee you there's no more food left for him to eat because all the food's either gone and everyone's dead and rotten around him. And he's still on
That's just
an
what I'm saying.
island. So
You've got-
they would have like completely isolated him to the island. And if the
that's what they're
gas
still
and
trying to do.
noxious food and if the fumes were as bad as what you're saying, this noxious cloud, the cloud would sweep over the entire city. And as soon as with a gust of wind, and as soon as that happened, tough beans.
I mean, I can understand where you're coming from with that, and it
And
makes
the
perfect sense.
wind doesn't matter if
You
you
just-
have fans blowing against it because the fumes have shown in the second one
Yep.
that
To
they will
follow
just
him.
it doesn't matter that they follow him. They take out the fans. So you
Yes,
can't
but
justify
he's in the
that.
epicenter.
Yeah, but it
He's
doesn't
in the
matter.
epicenter, and he
It
keeps
don't
moving.
matter, man. It's like you need to move away from the noxious cloud, all right? You do.
If he were not to move, the cloud wouldn't move either. I don't think.
No, though it would move because of the wind. They showed it moving with the wind. The reason why it
They
was
showed it
always
moving
coming
with him.
because he was the one expelling it. So it
Mhm.
was appearing behind him, but it was also going out in front of him when he was inside the tunnel, and it took out the
Yeah.
things, the fans. Again,
Correct.
irrelevant of cannon fodder though.
We'll have to agree to disagree because I feel like it's possible. It's
Not
probably
even
not
not
connected.
even remotely close to being possible. Like
If you let me finish the thought, it would make sense.
I promise
but-
you it won't, but go ahead.
So my thought process. So the reason why his noxious fumes spewed forward is you're right. It's being expelled from his body.
Mhm,
They sealed up the back part so it can only go forward.
mhm.
So that was my thought process on why it fought against the fans. But let's assume he gets out, all that stuff. He's roaming around. You've got these islands of weaponized people just keeping him at bay, and then eventually he'll die, right? And then they no longer have to be at war, and then they can evolve towards magnetic rose. But that's honestly,
It really
I don't
honestly
think they're
made
connected.
less sense when you started when you said it, so I wish you didn't.
Oh, no need to be hurtful. Anyway, but think about this, right? Did you identify any characteristics that would make sense in cannon fodder? Because the way that I saw it, you have an optimist, a narcissist, and a pessimist. The father's the pessimist, the mother's the narcissist, and the boy is the optimist. And the way that it took me a minute to try to isolate this one story and try to figure out what's going on here. And the boy wants to be this grand commander. Why are we fighting? Oh, you'll find out in due time.
You'll find out when you're older. Yeah.
And the mother just didn't care about anything except what she was trying to facilitate. Hey, get up. I've told him so many times. He just doesn't listen to me. And she doesn't really do anything. And the father goes out and he's the pessimist. Everything always just happens to me. And he's the bumbling person there. And everything happens to him. He doesn't act upon anything else. And then he makes a mistake and gets yelled at. And he takes his a punishment from his supervisor at the time, right? And he stands there without a mask, and you see him fearing the cannon that he's working on. Rightly so. But it was very odd to me that he was the only one without a mask. And like,
it's because it fell off.
No, I get that. But if he, at the end of the show, it showed him perfectly fine.
Yeah.
What's the need for the mask? To create uniformity?
Yes.
Or, I mean, yeah, pessimistic.
Yeah.
Everything
I mean, like they also talk about they also showed like, oh, there's carcinogens and toxic chemicals in the gunpowder and things like that we're using and everything going around with it. So, so I would assume it's also to help protect against that. But again, it's not going to be an instant thing. It's like, it's the same thing when you smoke, you're not going to smoke. And then after that one drag of a cigarette, oh, I have cancer. It doesn't work like that.
That's fair. Yeah, it just, that little short was rather depressing.
It was. I feel like it was supposed to be too.
Oh, absolutely. I read the overview and it's just a day in the life of a city at war.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's bleak.
Right.
At the very end, not the very end, but like at the end of the day, they tell you about, oh yeah, so-and-so did this, so-and-so did that. We have a shining example of 17 and 15. They shot 4 times each. And oh, look at these guys. They only shot 1 time. And like, it was very obviously militaristic, but the little boy was, no matter what was going on, he was always optimistic and always happy and always joyous. And it just
kind of,
well, yeah, well, I would say a good 98% of the time he was upbeat and happy.
Yeah.
There was one time he was really sad because his mom wouldn't get him a whistle helmet and everybody's going to have it except for him and he's going to be outcast.
He's a normal kid.
He got over it.
Yeah, he's a normal kid. Yeah. I don't know, man. I mean, each story is its own unique view. And so on that note, I honestly, I don't have too much more to say. I mean, like the first one was obviously the better one. It kind of ends in a resolution or ends in a way that you're kind of expecting it to. Second one just ends in a way that kind of aggravates you, or at least aggravated me.
Frustrating.
Yeah. And then the third one just kind of was there.
Okay. Well, okay. So
it had no
weird question.
It was just like, here's our daily life and that's it.
And that's kind of why I leaned really hard into the optimist, narcissist, and pessimist, because that's the only, aside from looking at it like, oh yeah, it's just a regular day, I guess. There had to be something more, especially if it came from the same office as Akira. And I have to look at it like that. And when I do, there's more. You know what I mean? It's not just face value, as with most of Akira's works. And
well, Akira is a movie.
Yeah, I know. As I was saying that, I knew I was saying that wrong, but from the creator of Akira, that's I don't know. I'm a fanboy for Akira. So
okay, well, kind of. It's not all from one person, and Satoshi Kon was one of the art directors, and he did help write the script as well. So
Script for which one?
It's a great question. That I don't know.
Unless it's well, technically the whole thing is considered to be memories.
Yeah.
So maybe they're not taking it per episode. They're just taking it as he was involved in memories, the overview. But I assumed
no.
until you said
so
it,
I pulled it up. He's credited with Magnetic Rose.
that makes a lot of sense. But no, until you just said that, I assumed he was involved in all three. So I was trying to find deeper meaning in all three.
Right. Yeah, he was only involved in one. Koji Morimoto, he was the director and scriptwriter for this. He was involved with Akira, but he was an assistant animation director.
Okay.
He wrote the script for. He also wrote the script for Magnetic Rose, and then he was the director for Magnetic Rose.
I kind of wish they would have done that one alone, because Magnetic Rose was so good.
Yep.
Anyway, I'm just gonna keep gushing over Magnetic Rose and shitting on the other two, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm right there with you, man. So I feel like this is a great spot for a rating, sir.
Well, I'm gonna ask that we do something a little different, because I don't think it's fair.
Nope.
No, hear me out.
Nope.
I don't think it's fair to lump Magnetic Rose in with the other two, because Magnetic Rose is going to raise the hell out of Cannon Fodder.
Right.
Cannon Fodder is going to lower the hell out of Magnetic Rose.
Right. So here, let me ask you this, sir. On any series that we do you want to rate each episode individually and give 25, 26, 27, 35 ratings?
I mean,
rated as a whole.
That's a dangerous question.
It's rated as a whole.
Even though they got different directors.
Rated as a whole, because anime episodes will have episode directors for it. So rated as a whole. TV shows have episode and episode script writers.
I mean, I get that, but this is just so different.
Rated as a whole.
All right. I'm going to give it an 8.
Okay.
And the reason why I'm giving it an 8, I would encourage anybody to watch Magnetic Rose. 100%.
Mm-hmm.
It's, in my opinion, it's really close to like a 10. That said, because I'm also lumping in the other two, I'm deducting 2 points, one for each other episode. Not to say that they're both equally bad, but like Magnetic Rose is really, really good.